Cricut Design Space in 2023. Everything that you need to know from start to finish. So I'm going to quickly go through here with a lot of the basics that you need to know to get started using Cricut Design Space today, or maybe you've already been using it, but I'm going to show you some of those updated features that Cricut has added recently, close right here to 2023. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Jumping into Cricut Design Space, this is called the canvas. This is your workspace. This is where you're going to design everything, size things out, cut it out. So this is your canvas. So whenever you get here, this is what it's going to look like. A few things I want to just show you right away is with these squares here. So for example, if I wanted to get rid of these squares, you can go ahead and click this blank square right here, and you can just have a blank screen. So that's the very first tip I want to show you guys, is clicking those. If I want the bigger squares, I could click it again. And then if I want to go back to those little ones, click it again. So that's something that you can do, so that way you can have that. The other thing is, if you are working with a design and you want to change that background, so say for example I'm working on a pink t-shirt, what you can simply do is come where it says blank canvas, you're going to click on that, and then you're going to come up here at the top where it says color, click on it, and then simply choose a color. You can go to advanced and really narrow that down. So say for example I want that pink background, so I can really see and have those colors pop off of what a pink t-shirt would look like, or maybe something a blue one, etc. And then you can just change it back to white. Now every time you open up Cricut Design Space, it's going to refresh, and that's the same for, you know, if I really like it to be a blank canvas like this, every time it opens up Cricut Design Space, I'll have to just simply click on that blank square. So that is my very first tip for Cricut Design Space. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about designs, images, SVGs, the files that we're going to cut with. So I'm going to show you guys how to upload the file. I'm going to show you guys things from slicing, welding, all of those things. So let's go ahead and start with number 2. All right, so for our design, this is the one that we're going to use right here. It says, "Ain't no shame in my flannel and boots game." I think this will be perfect, whether you guys are wanting to use it for the rest of this winter here for the next few months. It's going to be kind of cold here, or you want to use it next fall. Whenever you're watching this video, what's really exciting about this is you're going to see it is completely free. So we actually have free resources for you guys, and it's going to include SVGs, so you guys can cut those with adhesive vinyl, HTV, or we even have PNGs to make your stickers, your printing cuts. Whether you're using something like a printable vinyl or printable HTV, we have all of those things for you. In order to access these free resources, all you're simply going to do when you come to designbundles.net, you're going to see where it says free designs. If you hover on this, you're going to see where it says free SVG files, sublimation. You can simply click on one of these, or just simply click where it says free designs. And then from here, you're going to be able to see there is just so many designs, but you can really narrow those down from, like I said, SVGs, backgrounds, PNGs, all of those things. So you can click on free SVGs, and then that'll really just narrow that down for you. And then you can type in. So say for example, I'm looking for, let's just see if there's anything that is baseball related. I can put that in. It's going to bring up whatever baseball designs there is. Or maybe I'm looking to do some decor, just type in decor and see what pieces we have there. So it does have a search bar, so you can do that as well. All right, so now that I've showed you guys that we have free resources, which is perfect for the beginner, this is going to allow you some free designs to get started, because we know over in Cricut Design Space, so many of those designs that they have for you are actually access. You have to pay monthly to be able to get access to those. But if you're looking to get started, you want to use some free resources, highly recommend that you check out our free resource section. So like I said, this is the design that we are using today, and they are so easy to use. We're not going to ask you for your email or any of those kind of things. You don't have to add it to your cart. All you're simply going to do, see where it says download free now, click on it, and it's sending it straight to the computer. So now we own it, it's on the computer, and now we're ready to send it over to Cricut Design Space. All right, so now that we're over here in Cricut Design Space, how do we upload our SVG file? So what we're gonna do is come to where it says upload. You're gonna click on that there, and then you're gonna come to where it says upload an image. So you're gonna click here. A few things you can do. If you know how to do a drag and drop where you open the file on your desktop, so say for example, I minimize this screen, I could do a drag and drop, or you can simply hit browse. And then what you're gonna do is just go to your downloads. I can see the design right here. And what you're looking for is the SVG version. So if you are using your Silhouette, you wanna use the DXF version. So we make sure we include this for everybody. So I'm gonna just show you guys that really quick right here. So see where it says DXF, that is gonna be for our Silhouette users. And then the SVG is gonna be for the Cricut. So you're just gonna click on open, and then it's gonna look like this. So super duper easy, it's ready to go. At this point, you can rename it if you want to, add a tag so you know, okay, this is gonna be for my t-shirts, and then simply hit upload. Now at this point, you're gonna see your uploads here. You're gonna click on it. You're gonna see a little screen pop up here, which shows you have selected that. If you decide I don't want this, unselect it just like so. So I'm gonna go ahead and select that, and we're gonna click add to canvas. All right, so now we've uploaded our first SVG. Congratulations. If you're walking through the steps with me, you did it. So easy. Now the next thing that you're gonna wanna do, once you get this design in here, you can see this one right here only has one file. So this is one file. It may be in multiple pieces when you bring them in, because that's going to allow you to change the colors of each piece. Now this is a solid, so all you're gonna be doing is sizing this. So say for example, I knew that I'm gonna put this on a t-shirt and I want it to be 9.5 wide. Once you click on your design, you should have this bar right up here at the top pop up. And so this is gonna give you a lot of different options. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and change that width right here. So you can do it right here by typing in 9.5, enter, and that is gonna go ahead and resize that for us. One thing that you always wanna keep in mind is make sure that this lock is locked when you go to resize that. If it's not, it'll distort. Just undo it and do it again. So I've got 9.5 by 8 inches. So I'm happy with this. We're good to go. Another way to size this is if you simply grab and hold right here, you can simply grab and hold this until you get it where you want it as well. So say I just want it right there, I'm good to go. Now that we've sized it out, maybe the next thing that you want to do is change the color, because say for example, I may be using blue HTV. I'm going to go ahead and change it to blue right here. That way I can visually see what's happening. Now you do not have to. So if I know that I'm cutting it with blue, red, you do not have to change the colors, but if you are somebody that needs to visually see that color, you can do that simply right there. All right, so next up, we are ready to make it. Say for example, I have the Explorer 3. You're gonna wanna go ahead and click this drop down right here, and you're gonna be able to choose the exact machine that you have. So you can choose a Cricut Explorer family, which means that you have like the Explorer 1, you have the Explorer 2, and if not, maybe you have the Maker, Joy, or if you have the 3 version, you're gonna choose those. So for me, mine is the Cricut Explorer 3. So you always wanna make sure that's selected. Once you select it, you don't have to select it each time you come in. So how I showed you about this screen, you don't have to keep doing that every time that you log in. Now, if, say for example, I also own the Joy and I'm back and forth between the two, always check, because once you go to make it, it's gonna kick you right back over here, all right? So now, we're ready to make this thing. So what we're gonna do is we're simply gonna click Make It. All right, from here, say for example, I have the Explorer 3, so I'm gonna have all of these options here. If you have the Cricut Explorer 2, for example, you're not gonna have where it says without the mat, you're not gonna have on any of these. It's just simply going to take you to the screen behind it. Now for me, I'm actually gonna choose on the mat because I'm gonna be putting it on the 12 by 12 mat, and then I'm gonna hit confirm. So here is your design. Now you can definitely move it about on your mat wherever you would like. So if I've got my material down here, I could move it here, whatever you would like. Say for example, if I was making a stencil and this was adhesive vinyl, I may want to leave myself 1 inch all the way around. So whenever I cut this, those are things to keep in mind for adhesive vinyl and what you're doing for that project. If you're trying to save space, you want to get that all the way up in that corner. Now, for example, say for example, this is HTV. Iron-on, heat transfer vinyl, which is all the same thing. The very first thing that you need to do is come down here where it says mirror. You're going to turn that mirror on, and that's going to reverse this, so that way whenever we cut it out and we go to push it, it's going to be in the correct way. So HTV, you're going to have the mirror on. Just adhesive vinyl, cardstock, all of those things, mirror is going to be off, okay? So let's go ahead and leave it off. We're going to hit continue. All right, so now it's time to choose our material. So when you first get your machine, get everything going, this bar may seem different than yours. You may not even have anything here yet. This is gonna be your favorites. So depending on what settings you think is your favorite and you want it to be a quick go-to, you wanna set those here. And I'm gonna show you how to set those. So for me, I love the cardstock with intricate setting. I use everyday iron-on all the time. I use glitter iron-on, medium vinyl premium glossy. I use that with both matte and glossy adhesive vinyl. Medium cardstock I use all the time, as well as glitter cardstock. So this is my favorite board here. Now you can also go to popular, and these are some of those ones that are popular that people use all the time. Now another way to search is to go to browse all materials. So you can definitely go here. You see we got artboard, cardstock. They have them in sections for fabric, or you can use the search bar here too. So say for example, let's just say that we were doing vinyl. I could type in vinyl and I'm gonna get all of these options. Maybe I've got, you know, glow in the dark, or I've got premium outdoor vinyl and all of those things. I'm going to choose that specific one, holographic, etc. Same thing if I wanted to just type in glitter, it's gonna tell me there's glitter cardstock, there's glitter iron-on, so on and so forth. Another thing you can do is, like right now I'm on compatible, so these are those things that are compatible with my machine. So let's go ahead and go back and let's pretend that we are doing like a vinyl. All right, so let's go ahead and say that we were gonna be choosing a stencil film. I'm gonna choose that. Now the way to add this to your favorites is you see this little star here? If you click that, once it turns yellow, it's now added to your favorites. To take it back off your favorites, you're just gonna click that star again. So then we're gonna go ahead and hit done, and you're gonna notice now it has set our machine, it's ready to go. So you're gonna now get a flashing arrow, and you're just simply gonna load it. Once it goes through, then you're gonna get the flash, you're ready to go. That's how simple it is to use Cricut Design Space. Now, I wanna show you a little bit further while we're here on this side. Say for example that I've cut it and it didn't go all the way through. What you can do is you see where it says pressure, you can come here and choose more. So I know when I try this again, I'm gonna use the same settings, but I'm gonna have more pressure this time. So it's as simple as that. Or maybe it just went through a little bit too much, so maybe I wanna choose less. So you definitely have that option there as well. That's something that I really love to use for my leather. So if you're ever doing any sort of leather project, I always usually like to bump that up, choose that leather, but choose more, and that's really gonna help you out. Another thing is if you want to change any of these pieces here, your tools, you can edit your tools here if it allows you to do so. So say for example, some things, you know, say for a fabric, it may let you choose this one or the fabric blade, things like that. You would be able to change some of those things here too. All right, so let's go ahead and head back over to the canvas so we can learn a little bit more. All right, so let's talk about slice. So say for example, I was gonna make a bigger than the matte sign, and I need to slice this thing in half, so that way I can actually just put it on two separate mats and then combine it together. All right, so we'll pretend that this was a really big, it's gonna go past it's gonna go back past my, what I can load on that mat. So in order to slice, what you simply need to do is come to your shapes, and then you're just going to choose a square. So Cricut has a free area, and they also have an access area, and I just use all of these up here in the free. So we've got a square. You're gonna bring it and you wanna make it bigger than this one right here. So you're just gonna figure out where you want that center so you can arrange. So one of the features that's up here at the top whenever you choose your design is arrange. So to arrange this to the front, you're gonna click it here and then click on bring to the front. So that way we can visually see and say, okay, this is where my center mark is. Maybe you want it to kind of go right in between these two letters right here, and you're happy with that. All right, so I'm gonna scoot that up. So in order to slice this, the only way that slice will work, I see this question all of the time, is there can only be two pieces. So say for example, this design was 3 pieces and I selected it and then the square, it would not work. This has to be welded down to 1 piece, so you should have 2 pieces here. There should not be like 5. It should be 2 little pieces here. So what you're gonna do is select both. You can hit shift and have both of these. You can see they're both highlighted because both are highlighted in green, or you can use your canvas here and just select both of them like that. Once again, you're gonna notice that they're both gonna turn green. You're seeing that we're getting warnings here, which is telling us, see those little red things? If you hover on them or click on them, it's gonna tell you to reduce it. It's too big, that we actually can't cut it, which we know. We're gonna fix this. So now we're ready to go ahead. Let's go ahead and select both of these layers here. And you're gonna see slice right down here at the bottom. So you're simply gonna hit slice, And this is now gonna give us our separate pieces. So you're gonna get a few pieces like this right here. I just simply select all of that, hit delete. So now you're gonna notice our warnings are gone. So I'm actually gonna be able to cut this out in 2 separate mats, and then I can combine them back together. And that is how you make those bigger than the mat signs. So that's how that slice feature is. The key is you can only have 2 layers, and you can slice anything. So anything that you simply need to slice in half, that's how you're gonna do it. Another feature that you're gonna see up here at the top is flip. So say for example, I am somebody that's going to forget to mirror, so maybe you're gonna do it here on the canvas, so you can go ahead and flip that horizontal. So if you ever need to flip anything, it's simply right here, and you can flip it back, you can flip it vertical, and all of those things. If you wanna add an offset on here, you can definitely do that as well. So if you want to make this 2 layers and have that extra background, you can do that as well, which we'll get into when we get to the fonts here in just a bit. To rotate this, you're gonna see if you hover, you get that kind of curved arrow, so you can kind of rotate this if you need to at all for any sort of reason, or you can even do it here. So if you're needing to rotate it 90 degrees, you can definitely just type that in as well. And that's pretty much it for this section. Another option that you're gonna have here with your SVGs is your operation. So right now it is a basic cut, which means that you're gonna be able to cut it. It's just gonna cut on, you know, whether it's cardstock, adhesive vinyl, HDV, all of those things, it's gonna cut it out. You can also change this. So for example, if I want to draw this onto something, so I want the Cricut to write this on the inside of a card, you're just simply going to change it to pen. And you can even get further in there. You can really change, like if you click right here, you can change that to the exact pen that you're using with the exact color. So you could come up here, and maybe I'm using a gel pen and it is in Dusty Rose. So you can really narrow those down and do that as well. All right, so another thing that you can do with this same design too is foil. So maybe you're using the foil pen that you can purchase. There's one that is by Weir Memory Keepers, and there's also one by Cricut, so you would put that in here and then you would be able to foil. So how the pen writes it on, the foil, you'd have the foil down and the foil is going to do that. Those options are here as well. You choose fine, medium, etc. Right there you can choose the exact color of foil that is as well. The other thing is score. So if you just want this to be a score line on something for some reason, that's how you're going to do that as well. And then, you know, if it was, for example, it was going to be a printing cut, I could change it to a printing cut. Now you're going to notice if you change it to a printing cut that we're going to get this warning right here. So with this warning, it's going to tell us that we can only do a printing cut 6.75 by 9.25. So if you ever forget what that size is for a printing cut, if you click on that warning, it's going to tell you. So all you simply got to do is just bring this guy down until it reaches within that, which I think somewhere right there, you're going to see that warning is gone. So now this guy is good to go. So another thing that you can do with these two is you can hide them. So say I have several different SVGs on here, I can hide it using this eye. It's not going to cut out. So it's going to stay here so I can work with it later, but it's not going to cut out whenever you're going to cut my pieces. So that's good as well, especially if you're working on several projects. I like to use that feature right there. All right, so back over here really quickly, since we are in the printing cut, let's talk about stickers. So with this design right here, if you want to turn this into a sticker, what you can simply do is come up here to the offset. I said I wasn't going to talk about this until the font, but I realized we do need it. So with the offset, you see how now it has that offset border around it? And if I really want to make that much bigger, I can kind of do that here. That way I can really kind of get rid of those pieces, which I'm going to show you how to get rid of those a little bit better too. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply, and that's going to give us that offset. Once you get that offset, you're going to, it's going to change to that like gray color. So you can change that to whatever you want, and we'll do that in just a second. But one thing I want to show you is to change this. See, I want to get rid of these two pieces here. You notice I selected that layer. I'm not getting this contour to pop up. So if you're ever struggling with this, getting rid of some pieces and your contour's not popping up, if you have printing cut, which is right here, it's not going to pop up. But to do so, we're going to go ahead and change it to a basic cut. And now you can see that our contour's popped up. So we're going to hit contour. I want to get rid of these two pieces. You can simply click on them like this to do so, or hit hide all contours, and that's going to get rid of everything. Now it's perfect. I like this. I just want it to be a perfect outline. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is back to the printing cut, but we need it to be white. So I'm gonna have it white, and then to bring this back to the front, you can either go to Arrange, Bring to the Front, or simply grab it and drag it on top. So that's one way to bring in front. If you're wondering, you don't always have to come to Arrange. Anytime you need to bring anything to the front, you can simply do it right there. And so now we have the offset, and what we're gonna do, just so you can see, we're gonna click on that blank canvas like I talked about before, and I'm actually gonna change this to a pink just so you can see my sticker. So now you see I've got that sticker, I've got the outline, but in order to get this to cut out together, because what's gonna wanna happen is it's gonna want to cut around all of the pieces still. You have to flatten it. So what we're gonna do here is we are going to select both of these pieces here, and then we're gonna go ahead and go to flatten. So now you see that this is just one piece. The offset's gone and it's just one, so they're combined together. So whenever we go to cut this out, now it's just only gonna cut around the border. If you don't flatten it, like I said, it's gonna cut the border as well as all of those individual pieces. So if you ever find yourself with it cutting all those pieces, you forgot to flatten. So you don't wanna attach, you wanna flatten. And you notice that we've got the warning again for our sizing. Once you add that offset, I brought it up a little bit, so I need to bring that back down. Bring it down, we're good to go. Now, if I want to create a sticker sheet, and I was going to have several of these going on, one thing that you could do is go to Shapes. We could go to Square, and then we could size this, say for example, that 6.75, and then we're going to unlock it, that way I can get the 9.25. I'm going to go ahead and do 9.25, enter. That way I can visually see how many pieces I can click or put on the sticker sheet, if you will. So what we're gonna do now is I'm just gonna size these down. So my stickers, I actually want them to be about, say, 2.5 each. So you can either do that once again, or just come right here and we'll do 2.5, enter. And I'm gonna make sure that this is in the front. So I'm gonna go and bring it back up here. And then I'm just gonna get this here on my sticker sheet. In order to duplicate these, all you simply have to do is see with this little plus here, you're gonna click duplicate, and we're gonna get those over and over. So we can just kind of do that and continue to get all of our stickers. Now, another way that you could actually do this, I'm gonna delete those, I could select both of these, hold that shift, select those, duplicate those. So that way I'm doing 2 at a time, and then I would do the same thing. If I had 4 here, I could go ahead and select all of these here, and then duplicate the same thing, and I'm gonna have 4. I accidentally didn't grab one. That's okay. So we'll go ahead and do this. We will duplicate one more time, and there you have it. If you really want these to be nice and precise, you could go ahead and select them in rows like this, and then you can go to align. So you have an align feature here. Say for example, you go to align to left, you could do the same thing. So then you have your sticker sheet. Once you're happy with it, I'm gonna delete this piece, select all of these, and that's where we're gonna use our attach. So attach is going to still have all of those layers. You see all those layers on the side, but it's one. So when we go to hit make it, you're gonna notice that all of those are gonna stay together just how I designed them. So with the printing cut, you're gonna notice this black border all the way around. That is for the Cricut to read. So you're just simply gonna print this, whether you have an inkjet or you have a laser printer, you're gonna print these out and then you're gonna load it on the mat. And the exact way that this is, your printer will read those black marks and then it'll cut exactly where it's supposed to. And I know you can't see those offsets, but they are there. And that is how easy it is to do those printing cuts. Now I wanted to show you something too. While we're over here, see where it says project copies? I can do that here. Instead of trying to duplicate this and say, I've got 8 stickers here, I put 100 stickers because I want to do that. I can do this here. So I can go to project copies and I'm gonna change this to 5 and then hit apply. This is gonna give me 5 mats. So you see that now? So now I have 5 mats that this is gonna cut out. All right, so once you're ready to go, you're simply gonna hit continue. And so this time it's a little bit different. You're gonna see that it's gonna take us here first. This is where you're going to hit send to the printer. And from here, you're gonna choose the printer. So say for example, the Canon. I always turn that bleed line off because it's white, because we have the offset, and then print. And that's it. And so you're gonna print it, you're gonna put it on the mat, and you're gonna cut it out. So that's how easy it is to create stickers right here inside of Cricut Design Space. All right, so now that we have went through all of that, we have brought in our own SVG file, we have resized it, showed you how you're gonna cut it out, I've showed you how to make the stickers, I've showed you how to add an offset to make a sticker. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you the features down here, which is combine. So it used to just have weld there, we had slice, weld, and attach. Now we have combine, which is gonna give a few different things. So I wanna show you simply using a pattern like this. So this is a cow print. And so a few things that you can do with this. So say for example, we want to come up here and I'm going to bring in a circle, all right? So say I'm going to be doing a keychain and I'm wanting to put this leopard print on here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and size this to 3 inches. All right, so that's my keychain. My keychain's 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and size this down just a little bit. I'm actually going to line these up just like so. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit select. And so if you come down here now, like I said, there used to just be weld. So this is one of those new updates that Cricut has added for us. And so if you click on that little arrow, you're going to get a lot more. So now you have weld, which we'll get into all those in just a second. So if you click on, say for a second, intersect, that's it. Now I've got the design perfect. This is going to fit on my 3-inch keychain. Absolutely perfect. So if you're wanting to use that pattern and you're not wanting to sit there, because you see how I've even got all of the edges here. So it's cut off all my edges. I'm not having to sit there and just kind of guess and put some of that on and then cut it off. If you want that to be edge to edge perfect, use that intersect feature just like that. So easy. Now, using that same thought process, say for example that I'm creating a picture frame. So I've got a nice 6x6 picture frame. We're gonna pretend, I'm gonna bring this actually up a little bit so you can see it just a little bit more. So say for example, let me do this. All right, we're just doing this. I'm just using some sizes. Say for example, I've got a nice square picture frame and I have this center, it's a white picture frame, it's got a circled center, and I want it to be a cow print all the way around, all right? So what I'm gonna do, you're gonna center that. In order to center these two pieces together, you're just simply gonna come up here to align and then just center. So if you want that dead center in that design. So this time, we're gonna go ahead and select both of these again. And so this time, I'm gonna go ahead and click subtract. So it's going to subtract that center out. So that circle's gone, it's just completely wiped out the design from there. So I could print this out and it's perfectly going to go onto my picture frame. Maybe you're going to be doing a you know, your outlet covers or something, and you're just gonna put a little, say for example, what I would bring in there would be the shapes. I brought in something like this, and then I would hit the unlock here, and then size it down to obviously that keychain, to that light switch thing, and I would do the same thing. So if you want to decorate your light switch covers, etc. So those are some of the new features that are in here, and I'm really excited about it. All right, so continuing into our combine, I wanted to show you a few things. So we're gonna go ahead and just put 2 shapes here together. I'm gonna select them just to show you what each shape is doing here. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what each one is gonna do here. So if we hit weld, you're gonna notice it's gonna go away. This is now one solid piece. So if you're wanting to create something here, a specific design, that's one way that you can do it. I use weld a lot. Say for example, with that flannel one that we had, say it had 3 different layers. Instead of hitting attach where you'd have all the layers, I hit weld and it makes it one. So you can simply use it for that as well. We're gonna go ahead and hit that undo button, and I'm gonna show you the other. So we're gonna select it again, and then this time we're gonna go ahead and hit unite. So you're gonna notice that unite and weld are doing the exact same thing. So those are together there once again. All right, so for our very last one, which is exclude, I brought back in the flannels and boots. So say for example, the exclude is going to be perfect for stencils. So you're gonna select both of those designs. Once again, you can only have 2. You're gonna click on that, and that's gonna be the last one at the bottom. So when you click it, it's going to exclude that. So see that SVG I added, and now we have a stencil. Whether you are going to be doing screen printing on t-shirts, and this is now gonna be for your screen, maybe you're gonna be creating signs and you're gonna be hand painting that on, maybe you're doing a doormat, this is gonna be perfect for creating those stencils and having that border all the way around. So it's just gonna be super duper easy. All right, so I'm gonna show you one more time using a pattern for a stencil. So I'm gonna go ahead and select both of these again. I'm gonna go ahead and come down here, hit exclude, and now we have a stencil. So compared to before, I had just the shapes, but it wasn't a stencil. So now this is gonna be a stencil where you'd be pulling out all of your pieces. It just makes it so easy. It's just got our border around it for us. Once again, maybe you're gonna use this to spray paint in some tumblers or something like that. So that's how easy it is gonna be to make some stencils. All right, so now that we have covered everything that we can think of with an SVG, from slice, weld, we've intersect, we've excluded, we've made stencils, we've made stickers, we've I've showed you all of the things with that SVG. So I think I've covered everything there. If I did skip anything, you guys let me know in the comments below. But I think now it's time to cover the font. So what's really exciting about using Cricut Design Space is you can bring in your own font. Once again, a lot of the ones that are already here inside of Cricut Design Space are for Access members, but you can definitely bring in your own. And once again, we have tons of free resources with lots and lots of fonts. So let me go ahead and show you. All right, so now that we're over here in our font section, which is called fontbundles.net, this is the one that I'm actually going to be using today. Once again, you can see it's completely free. So to access our free fonts, all you simply have to do is see where it says free fonts here. You're just going to click on it here. Once again, you can choose those, click here, and you're gonna see so many. We are loaded. So this is another way to really start building these. All you're gonna do is click on download now and take it straight to your computer, and you're gonna have all these really fun ones. I mean, look at how cute this one is. There is so many good ones. And once again, you can really narrow that down. So if you're looking for something that is calligraphy, you can do all of that there. All right, so now that I've showed you, we've got lots of free resources as well, especially for a beginner trying to build your supplies and all of those things. We've got lots and lots of free stuff for you to get started, all right? So what you're gonna do, same thing, we're gonna click download free now. So this is gonna be a little bit different. So what we wanna do is go to that file, and then we're gonna install it on our computer. All right, so once you've downloaded, a little bit different outside of Cricut Design Space, download it to your computer. You're gonna find that file. So once again, I went to my downloads. It's the very first one there. You could search in your search bar if you can't find it. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna have a few different options. So you're gonna have OTF or TTF. I like the TTF. I've just pick one and stick with it. That's the way that I've always done it, and that's the way I've been taught. So true to font is what that is. So either one is gonna be just fine. But if you're gonna do them, just choose the same one every time. It's just what I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and double click on that TTF. Next, you're gonna get a screen that's gonna pop up just like this. And then you're just gonna click where it says install font. And so now it is installing that font. And so from here on your computer, you're gonna see it's gonna show you all of those letters as well as any sort of GIFs or anything that it may have with it. So, so here's our font, it's ready to go. All right, so the very next important tip here is we've installed it on our computer is if you already had Cricut Design Space, you either wanna exit out of it and completely bring it back open, or all you have to do is hover up here at the top. You see where it says view. So you're gonna click on view, you're gonna see where it says reload or force reload. I'm gonna go ahead and click on reload, and it's gonna reload Cricut Design Space for me, because until you reload Cricut Design Space, your font will not be installed. So there we have it. I did not have to completely exit out and come back. It is super duper easy. And now what we're gonna do to find our font is you're gonna go where it says text. So you're gonna click on that T here, and then we're gonna come up here to font. So you're gonna click it here, and then to search the fonts on your computer that you own, you're gonna come where it says system. So I'm gonna click on system, and then we're gonna search for our font. All right, so using that search bar, I'm just gonna go ahead and start to type it out, and you're gonna see right away it's gonna pop up just like that. Now, if I wanna go ahead and bookmark it, just like I showed you with the star, I could bookmark that. So from now on, instead of clicking system, I can go to bookmark. So what I would suggest is every time you bring in one of our fonts is go bookmark it right away. So that way from now on, I can go to my bookmarks and they're gonna be there for me. So that's a really good tip for me, because your system fonts is also gonna be whatever's on your computer, which is great. It gives you more fonts too to use. But if you specifically only wanna see what you've purchased, do the bookmark, and that way you have all of your things there. So to change that font, I told you is right here, but the style of it, if I want to change the style of it, I can do it here. So say for example, this one only has regular. If you have bold or italic or all of those, you'll be able to do that there. You can change font size, the letter spacing, all of those kind of things right up here. There's so much. You could curve it, so many different options, as well as the offset. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the really cool thing Cricut recently did was they've changed it so when you're typing out, you're just typing out like normal. So here we go. So we're just gonna simply go ahead. I just like to double click on it, and I'm gonna start to type out. So let's go ahead and type out design bundles. All right, just like that. So we have design bundles. All right, so now there's a few things that we can do once we have it actually typed out here. So from here, we can change the color. So just like we were showing before with our SVGs and stuff, if you want to change the color, you can do that there. If you wanted to come up here and add an offset, just like we did as well with our SVGs, you can do that once again here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit apply. I could do the exact same thing. So if I wanted to get rid of all of these little pieces, do just like I taught you guys before, where you're going to select it and then you're going to turn it to a cut file, and that way you can get rid of those pieces there. Now this is actually not print and cut, so it's gonna show our contour right away, but you can do that same thing where I hit contour, hide all contours, and it's gonna get rid of. So if I want all that to be solid in the background, I can do that as well. If not, I'll go ahead and hit the undo. It's gonna bring it all back. So there's your offset layer. Now you can make that as big or as little as you want to. But what's really cool about this too is if I wanted to select both of these, they are 2 layers. You could go ahead and slice it, and then you're going to have this font. So if you want it to be like a bubble font with the centers out, so that offset is also used for something like that as well. So it's really, really cool. So you have so many different options whenever it comes to designing your very own font. All right, so next up, let's go ahead and play around with some curve and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and type this out again. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and size it out just like we did a second ago. I'm gonna go ahead and scoot this guy down here. So just to back it up a little bit, once again, if you wanna change your size font here, you can do it here, but if you specifically know your number, you can do it here as well. Letter spacing is gonna go ahead and separate those letters even further. You can see that there. So if I really wanted to bring in my letters and have them much closer, you can do that as well. And then line spacing. If, for example, I typed out here, so let's go ahead and do this, and then I'm gonna hit enter, and I'm gonna go ahead and do crystal, and so now you can see that space there. If I wanted to bring in my line spacing, that's what that's for. So that way I could bring those in much closer. And if you get to know this number right here, you're gonna usually just kind of type that in. You'll kind of know that spacing after a while. Your alignment is gonna be the same thing. If I wanted to move these left, or if I wanna go ahead and center those, same thing. All right, so let's go ahead and mess with that curve. So I'm gonna go ahead and double click this here. Let's get rid of that crystal and whoop, keep our S. Okay, so for the curve feature, you're just gonna go ahead and click it here. And so if I want to start to bring this around, I could do so just like that. So I can have it in a circle. So if, for example, you have a logo and you're wanting to do that there, maybe you're gonna put a little design here in the middle, you do have that option right here inside of Cricut Design Space. Now with that curve, you see I went to the right, but if I want it to flip around the other way, I could definitely do that as well. You know, even if you just kind of want it to be half. So say for example, I'm making a big wood round and I want, you know, my design to be like welcome home or whatever, that's what that curve font is gonna do there. All right, so our last feature here, whenever it comes to font, whenever you write your font out here, before I have done anything, like how I already use slice here, you're gonna have these options here. They're gonna be available. I'm gonna have advanced. But if you come down here to where I've already sliced it, it's no longer considered font. Now this is an SVG file. So you're gonna notice I don't have those extra features. So if you ever wonder why, once you start playing around, you slice, you weld, you attach, those are gonna go away. But if you have written it out and you haven't done anything, you're still gonna have those. The advanced here, you can ungroup these 2 letters. So say for example, I wrote this out, but we had made my daughter some senior pants. So it says senior, you know, the lizards, whatever you got, bulldogs, whatever you got going on, and you need those to be individual, you can do that as well. So that way, whenever I go to, I'm gonna go delete this here, when I go to make it, instead of it staying as one long, it's going to, I'm gonna go ahead and choose on the mat just so you guys can visually see, I'm gonna save material. So instead of this trying, and I'm having to use a 12 by 24 mat because these are gonna be really big letters, maybe I'm making numbers for my address, you know, or something like that. Instead of trying to have that all long, it's gonna squish them all together so we can save material. And so they're gonna be individual letters. So that's what that option is. Now, since we are here, I wanted to be able to show you guys the weld about what I was talking about. So if I had all of these layers, you have a couple options. So say you hit attach, they're gonna cut all, so if I went to make it, like I was talking about before, you're gonna see now that, let's go ahead and do that, that it's all in one. So this is what I was talking about there. Now if I went back and I clicked on weld, so we're gonna go back here, we're gonna select it, and if I actually come over here and I click weld, it's gonna become one. See how all those went away? This is one. It just makes it easier for me. It's still gonna cut the same way. I just don't have all of these pieces over here on the side. So that's simply how that's gonna work. And that is the basics. Now there's a whole lot more from, you know, making your projects and having your project files and all of that. But this right here should completely get you going all the way through Cricut Design Space, from print and cut, like I said, making stencils, using font, and we have provided you guys with lots and lots of free resources to get started. Those links are down below for you guys, so definitely enjoy those. Let me know down below if you guys have recently got a Cricut and are just now getting started, or if maybe you learned something new and you've been Cricketing for a while. Let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.